Hey everyone, how's it going? Stevie here, Stevie ABZ, the guy from Kincorf, Aberdeen, the Holy Land, the best area in the whole of Scotland, Kincorf, but more specifically Aberdeen. How is everyone doing this week? I wasn't here last week. I am back at uni. Semester 2 is here. So I've been dished out a pile of work. Some of it interesting, like law and a media production project, but also web design, which is boring as shit. That's my only swear word for the week, I think. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. As you know, this is the World of Trash podcast. Well, I say that, but it's World of Trash is just where the podcasts reside. The podcast is actually called Stevie ABZ podcast. I'm thinking about just calling it ABZ, the ABZ podcast. It's easy as ABZ. Actually, that's the name of Aberdeen Airport, because I'm a total airplane geek. I can't help it, I really like airplanes. I mean, I wish I was actually an literally, I wish I could be an airplane. Do you don't think that would be really cool? To have, like, engines attached to your arms, and just whoosh, whoosh. I think that would be freaking amazing. Free as a jet. I mean, you could be a bird, but I mean, birds can only travel at like 10-20 miles an hour. You could be a jet and fly at like 650 miles an hour. How cool would that be? As you can tell, I'm just waffling crap now. So before we get into the actual content of the podcast, you can support the podcast and support me in making more podcasts and documentaries by visiting my Patreon page. You can donate, chip in, whatever the hell it's called. Whatever little bit that gets put into donating, whether it be through Patreon or my Redbubble shop, because you can buy merch, stickers and all that stuff. All the money goes back into my media production project. So what I'm working on just now is, if you look on my Twitter page and my YouTube page, you'll notice there's a video been uploaded. It's called Hidden Underground, Aberdeen's Hidden Tunnel, and it is a test screener basically. So this is a documentary project I was working on at the end of last year, but basically I ran out of time and light, as stupid as that sounds. Filming in Aberdeen in November outdoors is bordering on impossible because there was just no sun. The sun just does not rise. So I kind of got a bit stuck there. So I'm waiting till March/April, and then the filming will be resuming. So the plan is to just basically reshoot every bit of video that I recorded for Hidden Underground. I'm going to be reshooting everything. I'm going to be slightly changing the script, redoing the audio, taking out bits that annoy the crap out of me, which is most of it. No, I won't be taking most of it out, but I will be doing a complete re-edit, recut / of it before doing a proper sort of release in my capacity for releasing, which is not that big, but I will try. But if you're interested, if you want to learn something about the city I am from, Aberdeen, the documentary is there. It's 15 minutes long. It's on my Facebook page, it's on my Twitter page, and it's on my YouTube page. Go see it. It's called Hidden Underground, and it is a story about a hidden tunnel in Aberdeen. But yeah, the point I'm speaking about that was, it's a project I'm working on just now. I'm also working on a audio documentary on the Facebook paedophile hunter craze that's came up. So I'm currently working on that. I'm interviewing people at the moment. I have finally got people to speak to, which has been really hard. And this is actually kind of what we're talking about this week, on this week's podcast. This is this exact topic of trying to hunt down a paedophile hunter to interview them. But thankfully, after it's maybe 5-6 weeks, I finally speaking to a few of the Facebook ones, and I'm working on a really, really funky interview for the podcast / for this audio documentary I'm making. There is a chance that I will be making that into a video documentary as well as an audio documentary, just to supplement the channel and supplement my work for university. But that's a bridge I'm going to cross when I come to it. That's something I'll probably be editing / producing at the end of February / March. So it should be busy, and there's going to be a lot of uni work there as well. So it's going to be a tough time. It will be a tough time. I just realised that my music is on random. That is not good, because I've got audio clips to play in this show. So if it goes random, shit's going to be whack, y'all. So what are we talking about this week? Why am I here? The topic this week is something that's been interesting me. So, as I was mentioning just a second ago, I am currently working on an audio documentary, which I'm probably going to make into a video documentary because it's fun. I like video. But the topic is paedophile hunters, mainly the current uptrends of Facebook paedophile hunters. Now, this is a trend that, for the most, I support, because the Facebook paedophile hunters, for the most, do a really, really good job. I mean, what they're doing is a job that police seem incapable to do themselves, and this is proven by the amount of people they arrest. I mean, it's in the grey side of the law. It's right on the thin edge of the law. A lot of people, well, some people will always take the vigilante route, and they will try and paint them as vigilantes because they don't really understand what's happening, and they just think that people are like jumping people in the street and beating them up, when that's not the case at all. And I mean, for most of the stings that I've seen anyway, and I've now seen about over 200 of them in doing the research for this, I've seen a horrendous amount of paedophile stings. I mean, I'm not looking into what they're doing. I'm not looking into that side of things at all. It's not what I'm looking at. It's just the hunters I'm looking at. So, yeah, it's such a mind-blowing topic to me that this exists. So, it was something that I was drawn into just because it was so interesting. And then I noticed that the media would cover it. Now, I'm not talking media levels like me, little tiddlywinks, low-level media. I'm talking about the big players. BBC, Sky News, Daily Express, all that sort of types. And the problem with these types is they cannot see something in the middle ground, because the middle ground does not sell papers or get clicks on their website. What they need are bad guys. Bad guys and good guys, but mainly bad guys, because people want to read about bad guys. So what the media does in this situation is they paint every hunter as criminal vigilantes. And that, in my opinion, is wrong. It's not the way to describe them. And this is what started me off on working on this documentary that I'm working on. So, as I said, I'm working on that. So this is not, I'm not doing the documentary today, but as part of the documentary, one problem I have found, mainly with the Facebook ones, the Facebook paedophile hunters, is that they are incredibly secretive. Like, they are super, super secretive. So it's taken me weeks and weeks and weeks to even speak to one of them in text form. And so I can understand how people in the media might be having a problem speaking to them. I mean, with me, trying to find a hunter and speak to them, it got to the point where I was like, shit, do I have to go and hunt them? Do I have to try and find them in the street? And I mean, when I had that idea, I was like, no, that's just stupid, it's tasteless, and it's insinuating they're bad because you've got to jump them on the street and do what they're doing. Two wrongs doesn't make a right. So then, fast forward to earlier this week. There was a video appears. I seen it first on Facebook. It came through, I think it was Hard Justice or one of them groups posted it on Facebook. There's 75 of the paedophile hunter groups on Facebook just now, by the way. Over 75. So I know 75 is pretty much the minimum, but there is about that. So I think it was Hard Justice was the group I seen posting the link. And the link was of a BBC journalist called Kevin Magee. Now, he's a investigative journalist for the BBC in Northern Ireland. And what was happening was Kevin Magee has basically doorstepped a paedophile hunter. So rather than try and do things on a normal level, speak to him on the phone, arrange a meeting somewhere, he's taken the tactic of hunting a paedophile hunter. And this guy's just went in and he's doorstepped him. He's tried to harass this paedophile hunter on his doorstep. So I thought it was really, really bad. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play a clip of this for us, and let's see what happens. So I'm going to play this clip.
Folks, here we have a Kevin Magee of
if you're on
BBC,
Periscope, I'm really sorry, 'cause you can't
who
hear this.
harassed,
But
and
you
is
can
now
find the video.
harassing me, who harassed one of my previous colleagues, Chelsea Lewis, showed up at her home. This is a disgusting human
For
being
Periscope people all
that
dance.
showed up at the home of Chelsea Lewis and harassed her with her family. This is one of the security members that he's brought along with him, confronting me in front of my home. This is what they've got here, a camera precisely pointing at me.
Are you going to answer
And
any
now,
of the questions,
he
Mr.
feels
Keenan?
like he has the right to ask me a question after his conduct. Is that right, Kevin?
Are you going to answer
No,
any
no, no,
questions?
Kevin, you don't get the right to ask me nothing.
But you're-
Your conduct and confronting a woman on her own in her home has no right for you to come near me.
But whose
Ever.
authority
No,
do
no,
you work
on my
as a
authority.
self-appointed
No.
paedophile hunter?
No, I have
Whose
already.
authority
No,
are you
hold on a
working?
wee second. You're asking me questions you're not getting answers to.
Why not?
Because you're not getting absolutely nothing to me. Do you deserve something from me, Kevin?
Did you tell someone
Kevin, do
recently
you
that they were gonna
deserve,
break their
Kevin
jaw
Magee
on
of the
two bases?
BBC, do you deserve anything from me from the conduct of you showing up at a girl's home on her own with her child in
trying
that
to
home
make you
and
accountable.
shouting in
I'm
front
trying
of
to
that
make you
woman's home,
accountable.
shouting in front of that woman's home and making her feel scared of what the repercussions of people coming to her home because you're talking to her outside her home right now?
None of that's true.
Like right now.
None of that is
None
true.
of that's true. So, if I go on a live with Chelsea Lewis, she's going to tell me I'm lying. You're going to tell me she's lying.
Are you
Is
gonna
that right?
answer
As you can hear, things
No,
were
no, no.
pretty
Do you really
heated in
think
this
you
exchange.
have the right to get an answer out of me? Any question you think I'm going to give you a reply? Do you
Why
really
don't
think
you
you're
answer
justified
any
in
of the
standing here?
questions? Why don't
Now,
you?
Kevin, your thirst to get a story off of me is unbelievable. Now you're so look at
trying
this.
to get-
Look
I'm
at this.
trying to get-
Now, I will say this now.
I'm trying
Any
to get some
paedophile hunting
answers.
group in the entire Northern Ireland, this is the face that you do not want to talk to. He does not deserve your time.
So, I just thought I'd stop that clip there, because if we don't, we'll be playing that all day. So yeah, this time turn that down. Why am I hearing a tick? Oh, of course, because I turned the wrong volume down. So yeah, that was Kevin Magee doorstepping paedophile hunter James O'Neill. So, James O'Neill, I believe, is part of the group, where was it? Silent Justice. So, if you look on Facebook, Silent Justice don't actually have any videos up, so I've not been able to look at any of James O'Neill's stings to see like what sort of stings they do. I've watched some from a few of the Irish groups, and to be honest, a lot of the times it's the same people on every sting, so I've no doubt that I've seen him doing a sting before. Regardless of the fact, James O'Neill is no criminal. Okay, right? James O'Neill has not broken any laws, and James O'Neill has helped the police get convictions on paedophiles in his area. So James O'Neill is not a bad person in any way. My question is, why did Kevin Magee feel the need to doorstep him in this way? Now, as I was saying before, I can relate to Kevin Magee's frustration at not being able to interview one of the paedophile hunters from Facebook, because I know firsthand it is difficult. I mean, I've had some issues trying to get interviewed. I've had some groups are just fishy. Like, they're really just fishy, and they just will not talk to people, no matter what you do. I mean, I had one group, I'm not going to name names, I had one group who, when I started talking to them, the first question was like, obviously I introduce myself, I tell them I'm an independent person, I make documentaries, audio, podcasts and stuff, and I use the stuff for my uni course as well, because I'm also a media student, so it all ties in nice and well. So I'm all very honest about that and upfront, so I always tell them that. One of the groups replied, "What media company?" And when I said, well, as I said, I'm independent, they're like, "Oh, you're not a big media company," and then just blocked me. Simple as that. So, I mean, and this is a group that says it's not for entertainment, quote unquote, yet they will only speak to the entertainment companies that will get the media. This is a topic that my documentary is going to cover, so don't worry about that. I'll go into this in great detail in the future, because it's something I've been doing a hell of a lot of research on. Other groups will just say no, we're not talking. And it is like for no reason. I mean, they think I've had groups that think I'm a fake person. I've had like I literally like was like, do you want pictures of my passport? Do you want? It's like here's my uni address. Here's my look online. I don't use a fake name or anything like that. You can all track me. I don't really care. Go. I mean, here's information, but they're just really, really edgy. So I can see how it would be frustrating, even more so for an investigative journalist from the likes of the BBC. Because he will have needed this story. So Kevin Magee went... I don't know why he couldn't have tried a bit harder to speak to them online. Like, we've got Skype and things nowadays. There's so many non-confrontational ways of approaching people you don't know to talk to them about these sorts of topics. There's a whole load of ways. Meeting them face on is not the right way. Because what Magee's essentially did here is he has stung a paedophile hunter. He has went online, he's found his address, found his information, found his personal details, and did the same. He's treated James O'Neill as if he was a paedophile and he was getting stung, which is kind of scary. It's kind of not cool in the way I see it. I mean, I don't see what they do as wrong, but Kevin Magee obviously does to a degree. But then he does exactly the same. So he's going by the whole logic of two wrongs make a right. That is not the case. That is just silly. That is not how things work. And that is not a good way to make friends and influence stories unless, of course, you want the story to look bad. And I ask myself, did Kevin Magee want to look bad? I mean, with the situation, he didn't just turn up himself. He had himself a camera. He had a masked security guy. I mean, you clearly see the mask. He's a heavy, big dude. Like, he's a big guy with a like face covered up and everything. He's there to protect Kevin Magee. It's like, why did he need that? Did he think he? I mean, it's really weird that he's had to go to this length with the security and everything else. So I was like, Kevin Magee. I was like, that's not really cool. I was like, there's so many better ways you could have went about this. So many better ways, but you didn't. You've chose the most confrontational way to meet people that are trying to keep their identity secret. Mind blown. Maybe it's just because I'm still a student. I'm still learning these things. I think this is not the best way to go about it. But I don't think it's the best way. So that was that. I thought that was everything. Until later on, that evening, or the next day, I found another video. And this is the one that just changes the whole situation and flips it back round, because what James O'Neill has done is I'm not sure how many of them, they tracked down Magee, and I think it's a McDonald's or a coffee shop, somewhere like that. And, well, I'm going to play the video, so I'm going to play the audio, so I'm just going to play this and we're going to hear what happened. This is the follow-up, okay? When's it going to start? Is this starting? Is it going to give me the audio? Have I been ripped off? Have I been ripped off? Oh, no. Oh, here we go. Here we go, of course. There's no sound at first because they're walking about and all that sort of stuff. So, don't worry, here we go. You can hear it. Someone's sniffing. It's not anything bad, it's just that they're walking about with their camera. So let's go. Basically, this is them tracking down a journalist. Hunting him down, and not even at his doorstep. This isn't in public. So.
Kevin, you think that I'm here to grass up another paedophile hunter? Yes, you do. From our conversation on the phone.
So you've got me first people at house?
Yes.
I actually want to do that.
Trying to take this up
I
for you.
don't care
Sorry about the hiss.
Why is it that you feel the need to try and harass and expose people in their own homes? Okay, no problem. So what is it that you think and feel the need to turn around and stop people in their own houses?
Right, let's go.
Hey, Kevin,
This way.
how does it feel to be confronted by a bunch of... You take your hands off me. How does it
Don't
feel
touch
to
me.
be confronted?
As you can hear, things were getting very heated here. Very
You don't
heated.
like this, Kevin, do you?
Kevin,
It's not good, is it?
why is it that you're harassing mothers in their own homes with their children? Don't touch me.
You do not touch
Don't touch me.
This is the closest you will get to any of these groups. Do you understand it? You came here tonight thinking you were going to get stuff on me. You better watch
There's a lot of
simple as.
there is a way to be a lot of swearing in this, so prior warning.
This is what these small pubs help me. I know. I'm telling you.
So they're now on the street at this point, walking down the street
This is
outside.
what you stressed me out this morning in my family fucking home.
There's James
You
O'Neill.
don't fucking like it, do you?
Why
Get out
is
of
it?
my sight.
Why is it that you're doing this?
This is the
Kevin.
fucking closest you will ever get to any of these groups. Do you understand me, Kevin? You have no idea of the stress you caused Lynn, me, my fucking family. You ever come near my fucking house again, I swear to God. Do I make myself clear? Do I make myself clear, Kevin? Am I stressing you out? No! Am I in your fucking personal space?
As you can hear, it's pretty shocking at this point.
Am I in your personal space?
A lot of swearing, a lot of aggression.
Is it, Kevin? It's not so nice when the camera's on you.
Nah.
Is it, Kevin? Why is it you feel the need to go to people's houses and harass parents in front of their children?
Calling the police. Now you're calling the police.
You've no reason to call the police.
So he's now calling the police on them. For rightfully so, he's calling the police. So I'll leave that there. I'll put that down. I'll turn that down. I'll turn that down. I'll turn that down. Put some music on, and let's talk about it a bit more. So that was the clip. That was James O'Neill tracking down and confronting Kevin Magee. So this is now the third wrong in this situation. So I mean, at first the situation was not cool. We had a paedophile hunter being stung on his doorstep by an investigative journalist, treating the paedophile hunter as if he was a criminal, even though he's done nothing wrong and done all the good for society. That was wrong. And then we get this. Everyone could have been on the hunter's side at this point because he was rightfully harassed by Kevin Magee on his doorstep. There was no need for that, but for O'Neill to then track Magee down in a cafe in public and start shouting at him like that, that's not the best way to deal with this situation. I mean, if I was James O'Neill, I would be angry too. I can totally relate to that. I would not appreciate people harassing me at my front door, especially if I was doing good. Because you don't harass people when they're trying to do good for society. That's like giving your dog into trouble for sitting doing nothing. You don't do that. It's negative reinforcement. So I'm on side with James O'Neill, with their view of James O'Neill harassing them at home. That is not cool. James should have done things in a different way. But for the follow-up bit to happen, I mean, I just cannot agree with that. No matter, I mean, again, Kevin Magee's not really broken any laws. He's not acted in the best way, but he's not broken in any laws. So to go at him with that sort of anger in public, I mean, it's. I mean, as I said, the first situation seemed more like two wrongs making a right. Kevin Magee thinks paedophile hunters are wrong for what they do. He's allowed his view. He's wrong, but he's allowed his view. So Kevin Magee then thinks, oh, I'm going to do what they do. Two wrongs, try to make a right. It never works. And then if things were left at that, that would have been cool. But then they've confronted him in the street, and they've went at him even worse than he was. Because, I mean, Kevin Magee, they had a camera, he had security and all that stuff. But he wasn't shouting and screaming and being really aggressive. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there was a bit before that. I've got no idea because there's no video for that. So if anyone knows what happened before the video clip, tell me. I would gladly go back over this again because it's a topic that interests me. But as it looks like, I mean, he could have just. I mean, James O'Neill could have just tracked him down and done the same as him. Just asked him questions in a fair way and followed him. If it's in public, then they're not doing anything wrong. It's a bit annoying, but it's legal. You've got to stick within the law on these things, or it just gives people a reason to vilify you. So, I mean, by that video getting posted up, it's going to make... I mean, the name that I've got on the video is Unprofessional... in quote, I didn't name it this, is Unprofessional Thugs Harass BBC Reporter. interestingly, this is a video clip from not Silent Just Hard Justice, I think it is, another Facebook group, who are happy to hate on other groups because there is at times a huge amount of infighting. I mean, there's 75 groups, so you do get a lot of infighting between some of the groups sometimes. So, I mean, of course, other groups have been happy to use this and use it against the other group, which, again, it hurts my head because you're not doing your own side any justice by hating on your own side. You're just making people trust you more, which, again, is a bit suspicious because you should all be trying to work together unless you know for some hard reason that they're not cool. But, I mean, yeah, James O'Neill shouldn't have done that. That's my end on it. I mean, there's probably going to be I was reading up before, there's going to be a police investigation over this, so there's going to be more news coming out of it. It's been reported to the Irish police, PNKI or something, I can't remember what they're called. Sorry, Ireland, I'm really bad with Irish facts. But I mean, in closing with this situation, I think I'm going to totally say here that both James O'Neill and Kevin Magee are good people. I doubt very much that either of them are bad people in any way. I think this is just a situation that has been elevated and blown up due to the fact that one side hates the media and won't do PR because they're scared of getting arrested or getting infiltrated by police, and the other side is someone whose job it is to look into things and to find truth and open and expose the world to people. So I can see why both sides ended up at complete loggerheads here, because Kevin Magee's doing his job. I mean, Facebook paedophile hunters are news. It is a phenomenon. It's a big phenomenon. That's why I'm doing a documentary on it. So I can understand why anyone else, especially in mainstream media, would want to cover this. So yeah, I think they're both good people. I think this whole problem could be avoided with one simple thing. And I think this is a message I would like to spread out to all the groups I've spoken to. Every single one of them. Not even the ones that, well, mainly the ones that don't speak to anyone. Find someone, so they should do this, find someone who is at least semi-experienced with PR and have only them speak to anyone in the press. Whether it's someone lower than me, someone at my level, someone above me. Use what you can. I mean, everyone that works in these groups, they all do it for free. They're massive networks, and it's guaranteed that within these networks there's got to be people that are experienced with public relations, or just got a good head on them for speaking to people. I think the hunters really need to do this because they're running the risk of being too cagey. Some of them are just irrationally secretive, and I mean, as I said, I've spoke to a lot of them. Most of them just ignore you. Whenever you ask anything like that, they ignore you. Some of them are really cool and will speak. I mean, on anonymity, of course, but they are speaking to me, so I'm getting a bit of insight on what's happening. But I do think more public relations type stuff is needed, and they should obviously be careful. I mean, it doesn't help. Recently we've seen interviews on TV, and the people going on TV, they're really good. They're good people, but they're not media trained, so they get butchered by the likes of Piers Morgan and stuff, who are just animals when it comes to interviewing and will pick you apart if you don't know what you're doing. That's their job, is to just rip people apart. So when sending people that are not experienced and that are doing activities that are based on emotions, because this is what drives them. It's emotions that drive people into paedophile hunting, because they have got strong emotions on this topic. So when they're getting interviewed on it, no matter what, their emotions will always take over to a degree, and that's part of the problem. It can be really, really hard to talk to people when you're not talking to the person, you're talking to their emotions. You need someone with a degree of separation to act as the middleman here, especially for the paedophile hunting groups. I think that alone would help the profile of the groups. That would help the groups be able to do what they want and not be vilified so much, because they could have someone who would gladly go on any show and talk like a politician and just say, no, this is what we do. The police aren't doing a job. we've got to do this. We follow the letter of the law. Then if the media try and raise any questions about people committing suicide and stuff like that, you just do what a politician does and say, look, people commit, like, you would find your way around that question. You'd be like, we do a job, and our job is to take paedophiles off the streets. We do that in as safe a way as possible, and we follow the letter of the law. End of question. And that's one of the traps that people fall into when they're getting interviewed on this topic. They'll be asked about, what about that guy that committed suicide? And they're like, it's none of our concern. And that's true, but you can say that without seeming really cold and heartless, and as if you wanted them to do that. Because you have to seem, if you're doing that, you've got to follow the letter of the law. And yeah, as I'm saying, this emotionally charged interviews really don't work. And it's digging a hole. It digs a hole deeper and deeper. And it leads to this situation with Kevin Magee and James O'Neill, where we have reporters, journalists, who know their job, they do their job well, and when they get ignored, they get frustrated, and they end up going to these sorts of tactics. I mean, it is to be expected. It's going to happen, because there's no middleman here. But anyway, I've talked enough on this topic for this week, and that was the topic this week. So it was an interesting situation that I seen pop up this week, and it's something I just really wanted to talk about and just fire off, speak on my podcast, record some audio, play some audio clips, all that sort of banter. You know what I'm talking about. And yeah, as I said, it ties very much into one of the topics I've been researching heavily into just now. So my documentary, audio documentary or video, I've not really decided which. I know that sounds really, really stupid, but once I've got a script, I know what I'm doing. I'll probably make both. But that's going to be out probably in April/May. No, sorry, March/April. So, but I'm still working on that. I'm still interviewing people, and I'm still hoping to get some like actual live action interviews and not just me talking to people in text form. So hopefully this will happen. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm crossing all my fingers, as you can see on Periscope. Crossing my toes, crossing my ass cheeks. You name it, I am crossing it. Crossing the T's, dotting the I's, dotting the lowercase J's. Wayne's World. Hell yeah. But yeah, that's it for it. So, thank you for listening. Remember, you can check back on the channel for all the old podcasts, whether you're on iTunes, whether you're on iHeartRadio, or whether you're just at worldoftrash.libsyn.co.uk. That's not it. That's a wrong address. The website address that you can find everything that I've ever posted is worldoftrash.co.uk. And you can support me by visiting my Redbubble shop or my Patreon page. Links are down below, wherever the hell you're listening to this. So probably in the comments. If you want to send me an email, if you want something talked about in the podcast, contact podcasts@worldoftrash.co.uk. And lastly, if you want to have some banter, if you want to have some chat, come at me on Twitter at Stevie C. Smith. I will see you all next week for more Brexit debate. That's right, we're going back to Brexit next week. Cheerio!